Hello, my name is Shep Grinnan. I'm a counselor at Midland College and want to thank you for viewing in today. I wanted to talk a little bit about stress, maybe give you a definition, some statistics, and some daily things you could do in your normal routine to help reduce stress. So I have some slides. Let me start sharing them with you. So, what is stress and what are some simple daily things we can do to reduce it? Again, I'm Shep Grinnan. I'm a counselor here at Midland College. Let me start with some statistics. 70 to 80% of all visits to the doctor are for stress related and stress induced illnesses. And I'm going to be talking about this and how related stress is to our illnesses. It really affects us. People who live in a high state of anxiety are 4.5 times more likely to die from heart attack or stroke. So that's something. In fact, continuing related to heart attack and stroke, cardiovascular disease, which is heart disease, is the number one cause of death in both men and women. In fact, women seem to have a harder time with heart disease than men do, and they usually get it a lot later in life, but it's usually worse, more severe. So women have a particularly hard time with heart disease, and men and women both have a hard time with stress. So, what are some other things about stress? Again, related to the physical part of stress, it contributes up to 50% of all illnesses in the United States. There's an economic cost of stress. I'm sure you might have thought of it if you've been sick or somebody else has been sick and they can't work. Um, the cost of job stress in the United States is estimated at $200 billion annually. That's including the cost of absenteeism, missing work due to stress, lost productivity, and insurance claim. In a national poll, 7 of 10 respondents said they felt stressed in a typical workday, while 43% of those interviewed said they suffer noticeable physical and emotional burnouts of stress. So it affects us physically, economically, men and women, our performance at work. It really affects us. So, what are some occupations that really have a lot of stress? Well, probably most have some stress, maybe not all, but probably starting at the top, based on salary.com, enlisted military personnel have a high amount of stress. Surgeons, firefighters, commercial pilots, police officers, nurses, especially in the ER, emergency dispatchers, newspaper reporters, social workers, and teachers. So I'm sure you've known people in these different professions. And yeah, I know nurses, especially now with the coronavirus and social distancing and stuff, nurses suffer a lot of stress. We know policemen and firefighters suffer stress. You can see where military people would suffer a lot of stress, but teachers, we all know teachers, we all know social workers, they're affected by stress. So you might be going into one of these professions, and so getting some ideas of some daily things you can help handle stress would help you. So let me continue here. Um, Robert Elliott, Dr. Robert Elliott says that stress causes cholesterol to rise as much or more than does diet. And in fact, cholesterol is related to heart disease too. So that's a more specific way stress contributes to heart disease. There's a strong relationship between stress and immune system disorders and cancer. So heart disease, immune disorders, cancer, that's all affected by stress. So it's a big deal. The dictionary defines stress as a feeling of worry, nervousness, or unease, typically about an imminent event or something with an uncertain outcome. So it may be something that you're worried about that's coming up, maybe a job interview, or there's something stressful happening at work that's coming up. So it's an uncertain outcome, or we're worried about it. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about the body's reaction to stress. Uh, let me uh, let me sort of talk about it. We got our stress, as we developed as human beings, and the caveman, when they would see a bear, they would either fight it, run from it, or freeze. So they call this fight, flight, and freeze. And so these are good good responses when you see a bear. You want to fight it, you want to run from it, or you want to freeze. A possum, for instance, may play dead as a way of handling stress, and animals just move away from it. When today, if we saw a bear, we'd want to fight it, run from it, or freeze. And hopefully, one of those things would help. When this happens, this stress reaction happens, our blood pressure goes up, we get more strength in our muscles, and our heartbeat goes up, and our adrenaline goes up, so we can act really fast. So that's a good positive response, that bodily response. The problem is if stress continues, that response stays in our body and it's hard on our body. So that fight, flight, freeze response is good in the short term, but in the long term, it's hard on our body. So that's another reason we want to work on handling stress better. Let me move on to the next slide here. Hans Selye, who was a big researcher in stress, said there's two kinds of stress: good stress, which he calls eustress, and bad stress, which he calls stress or distress. So some ideas of good stress are winning the Super Bowl, getting married. These are fun things. These are euphoric things. Bad stress, where we get this fight or flight bodily reaction, most of the time are from external events like a bear, like we were talking about, a difficult life event, being laid off, and the bust and boom of the oil economy. Of course, the boom part of the oil economy, we could get a feeling of euphoria, getting that good job. And so that might be an example of good stress, but the bust economy could be an example of bad stress. So what are some solutions in daily life that can help handle stress? Well, there are several things that we just do every day. Maybe you don't think about them. One of the big things we do is exercise, just light exercise. A simple exercise you could do is just walking. Human beings probably became human beings when they stood upright and started walking. So just walking around the block, that can help your stress. Running a little bit could help your stress. Maybe doing some stretching. We feel our body moving when we're doing that. All this is sort of related to living in the present moment. I mean, we're doing things for our body, but they've also said, psychologists have said, if you live in the present moment as much as you can, focus on the present moment, that helps stress. So we have the physical things, the exercise, the running, the stretching. Nutrition is important. Eating well is important. So it's good to have a balanced diet if you can do that. And you'd want to have some, we all like meat and potatoes, maybe increase your vegetables, cut down on fast food a little bit, cut down on French fries and carbohydrates a little bit. You don't necessarily have to give them up, but cut them down a little bit. Being in the middle range is good. I have some coffee in the morning, but I don't want to have too much coffee because I'll get a little nervous or anxious as the day goes on if I keep drinking coffee. So I have a couple of cups of coffee, and I like that. Too much sugar can have that effect too. You'll have a rush of sugar high, and then you'll crash from sugar. So some sugar's okay, some caffeine's okay, but don't try to have excessive amounts. Spirituality is a good way to reduce stress. Going to Sunday school, church, temple, your place of worship helps. Studies have shown that people who have some kind of spirituality are healthier, they're happier. So spirituality can help. Time management can help. So we have smartphones and to use our calendar with our smartphone, we could use the calendar function on our smartphone to schedule times to get up in the morning, to go to work and be on work at time, as students to be on class on time. That could help. Your smartphone can also help you if times don't match up correctly or conflicting. You can use your smartphone to schedule. So managing time helps because we all struggle with having not enough time to do things. You don't want to be too rigid on it, but you want to have sort of a general schedule you can go by, and smartphone calendars really help with this. So let me continue here. Socializing with your friends helps. Laughing with your friends. We talk about humor. Humor seems to help a lot. Sometimes my sort of natural physical thing that I use is of course, exercise and hydration is important. But socializing with friends and laughing and joking, that helps me a lot. Thinking about something funny with my friends or family. Hobbies like gardening. With gardening, you're in the present moment. Working on your car, you're in the present moment. Working on your roof, you're in your present moment. So anything you can do to focus on your present moment, but also use our bodies, that helps us focus on the present moment. Yoga and meditation is good. With yoga, again, you're using your body, you're stretching, you're doing some postures. That helps. It gets flexibility, but it helps us concentrate and stay in the present moment. That seems to help. Meditation helps. Now, meditation, you might sit quietly and focus on your breath or focus on a word or something. That's another way to focus on the present moment. You hear a lot about gratitude and gratitude lists. Sometimes when you get down or stressed, you might think of 3 or 4 things you're grateful for, maybe your family or friends or being in Midland. There are several things that can help in terms of gratitude, doing a gratitude list. Another thing that helps is taking action. Um, there are probably certain things that you're good at and you like to do, like you might want to drive a little bit, or maybe again work in the garden, work on your car, cook. Do some action that you're good at, and that taking that action puts you again in the present tense. You're focusing on the present, and your body's moving, even your brain is moving in the present tense on doing something you like and are good at. Now, you could also apply this to learning. As a student, you're learning, and you're learning a new skill, and that can be focusing on the present tense. So focus on the present tense, take action on something you like and are good at. That's another useful technique that you can use at different times. Um, music most of the time puts us in present tense. It may remind us of some good times we had in the past. Dancing with your loved ones, you're using your body in the present tense. You're having some nice emotions. Your brain is using a different kind of the brain, different part of the brain because of music and dancing. Uh, these days, you want to be distracted a little bit from the news. I mean, the news can be pretty overwhelming now. So it's okay to look at the news and social media a little bit about all the things that are going on now, but take a little bit of a break. Take a little time and look at a movie or Netflix or a streaming video. Don't just look at the news all the time. Take a little break from that. Another thing that's important is to keep a good sleep schedule. So, sleep has been shown to reduce stress, especially if you're not getting enough sleep. So, you want to get a good sleep schedule. That means going to bed about the same time every day, and if you can get up about the same time every night. Hopefully, you have a somewhat of a comfortable bed. Your room should be dark as you can get it. It should, hopefully have a good, comfortable temperature. So having a good, consistent sleep schedule helps. Sleep helps our brain relax a little bit, put together things from the previous day. So a good, consistent sleep schedule helps. There's some other things that I'm going to talk about that help. Um, so try to see the big picture. We're not just our thoughts and emotions. If I'm angry or sad or something, I'm not just sad. My personality is just not just sad. It's just at that moment I'm sad, or I'm a little angry. I'm not just angry at that moment. We're more than that. So maybe you want to be a good student, or you want to be a good family member. We're more than just our thoughts and emotions. We should look for a big purpose of life. So what in life is important to you? So sometimes we get caught up in the details of life and get discouraged. Well, we're more than our discouragement. What's important to us? What's our goal? Is it again to have a family, to get a degree? Think of the big purpose in the life. Try to see the big picture. That can help with stress. So counselors have talked about again staying in the present moment, and one of the ways of staying in the present moment is to focus on our bodies, to focus on our 5 senses. And counselors have found if you focus on your 5 senses, that helps to stay in the present and maybe not be so stressed out. So let me get back to this slide and sort of tell you what I'm talking about. So counselors have said, focus on your five present tenses, obviously in the present tense. So you would let your eyes rest on five things you could see. Again, this is the focus on the present moment. Let your ears listen to four things you can hear. Let your skin feel three things you can touch. Let your nose focus on two things you can smell. And let your tongue focus on one thing you can taste. So as examples, there's several, for the things you could see, there are things in your room, maybe things you could taste, maybe you had lunch recently, things like that. So do that exercise with the five senses, and that can help you stay in the present moment and help the stress some. So I wanted to thank you for viewing this today. Feel free to contact me with questions or make an appointment. Counseling is free to enrolled Midland College students, so feel free to contact me. I wanted to thank you for coming in today, and I wanted to leave you with a lake scene, which I like to relax going to lakes, and another way to relax is to visualize a vacation. That's another way to relax. So visualization of something, I use the idea of a lake to visualize and relax. But let me leave you with this picture. So thank you and have a good day. Feel free to contact me. Thank you.